Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to the Plant Path. I'm your host, Sage Popham, and I am super excited to be joined today by a colleague and friend and teacher of mine, Pam Montgomery. And, me and Pam, I met Pam when I was in my early 20s, actually, and went down to a pretty extensive series of live workshops in California. And for myself, Pam has been just an instrumental teacher for me on my plant path and really provided a lot of guidance and good knowledge and wisdom about the plants. So I'm very excited to have Pam here on the plant path. For those of you that are not familiar with Pam, she is an herbalist, author, international teacher, earth elder, and new paradigm thinker who has passionately embraced her role as a spokesperson for the green beings and has been investigating plants and their intelligent spiritual nature for more than 3 decades. Pam's the author of Co-Creating with Nature, Healing the Wound of Separation, and the highly acclaimed Plant Spirit Healing, a guide to working with plant consciousness. She teaches internationally and virtually on plant initiations, spiritual ecology, and co-creative partnership with nature. She's the founder of the Organization of Nature Evolutionaries, or ONE, and was a founding board member of the United Plant Savers. Pam, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited to be seeing you again. It's been so long.
Great to be here with you. It's been way too long, and it just warms my heart to be able to sit and chat with you. So thank you
Oh, this is awesome.
for inviting me.
This morning, I was really thinking about how there was that one summer where I actually moved out to Vermont for a period of time, right? And was really spending a lot of time with you and Mark out there on your absolutely beautiful land. And I remember you had gotten the heart math reader thing that we were playing around with, the heart coherence work. And yeah, it's just like fond memories. So it's really great to see you again.
Good to see you too. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about. I've been thinking about what I want to talk to you about, and I would love to just go back to the foundations of your work. I feel like there's this golden thread that weaves through so much of the books that you've written, the teachings that you do, and so much of it, from my perspective, is really based on a perspective of nature, right? Where we're shifting our orientation as a human being to how we see nature, and really coming to a place of realizing and remembering that we as human beings are a part of nature as much as anything else, and that we can, kind of our modern subconscious cultural view of nature we want to wall it off, right? Nature is scary, or nature is just a resource to be extracted, and you have this perspective of, and the way you term it is co-creative partnership with nature. And I really love that terminology that you use. So can you talk a little bit about what does co-creative partnership mean, and why do you feel like that's important?
Well, yes, you're right. This is a thread that moves through everything. And well, it's our birthright, as you say, to be a part of nature. We are a part of nature. I mean, we're an animal too. So we are a part of nature. And yet we've forgotten. I mean, really what's happened is we've just fallen into this deep amnesia, and we've forgotten who we really are, and that we are a part of nature, and that we do actually remember and know the language of plants. We actually do. And we do remember, and we do know what wild water tastes like. And it's all here. It's all here. It's just that we've forgotten. So this whole idea of co-creative partnership, of moving back into partnership beyond relationship. So we already know we're in relationship, especially with the plants. Hopefully everybody knows we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the plants. So the plants, because we breathe, we're in relationship. That's a given. Everybody across the planet, that's a given. And yet when we bring it into consciousness that we are in relationship and that we are sharing breath with the green beings, we are the breath of another being, and another being is the breath of us. So it's like we're sharing this, and it's a back and forth. So we're actually engaging with the green world all the time. And it's so simple, breath. It's so simple and yet extremely profound once you go, oh, I am the breath of another being. And you go into the intimacy of that and what that means for you, like another being, like giving you your life. I mean, that's huge. It's huge. And yet so simple. So this whole notion of partnership is like just taking it a step beyond relationship that already exists. And that we actually together, we bring about balanced manifestation together so that all life can thrive. Not just us, not just the almighty humans. We step away from that place of being like the crown of creation and realize that we're on equal ground here with all of our nature kin. And I'm going to put emphasis on the plants and the trees because we're so symbiotically related to them on every level. And the plants and the trees, I mean, they've been around for a really long time. So they have the long view. I mean, and they have been adapting since day one. So they know how to do it here. They know how to be on this planet. They know how to thrive. They're the most abundant aspect of nature. And so co-creative partnership is really it's like a coming home. It's like coming back into our natural way of being as a part of nature, remembering that we know how to communicate. We know all this. We've just forgotten. So I feel like this whole separation from nature is what's gotten us into this incredible challenge. I was going to say mess, but I'll use a nicer word. Challenge. A very challenging place that we are right now, both environmentally and existentially. So it's like this huge. It's huge. And if we don't kind of come back, well, I don't want to make it sound like we're regressing or something like that. I mean, we can always move forward in a new way that fits in our modern reality, of course. But I feel like if we really need to stop being separate from nature. And like you say, it's like nature's still out there. It's like, oh, isn't it pretty over there? But the engagement with it, it's so important. It's so important to let's engage. And so anyway, that's to me, that's what.
Well, I feel like something you said there, I think, is really interesting because, as you say, it's like this remembering. If we think back to humans a long, long time ago, lived so integrated with the natural world, right? We think about, pre-development of larger culture and cities when people lived maybe more in villages or lived in community closer to the earth and their farming communities and things like that. And I think of a lot of the, I guess, the development and technology has been in a way to isolate us from nature to preserve our life in a way, right? Because if you think about it, nature is harsh. It's like nature kills people all the time. Extremes of heat, extremes of cold, extremes of, difficulty finding food and things like that. And so I think a lot of the developments were in a way to help humans to kind of protect us from nature. But at the same time, it also created this disconnect. So I love what you're saying is it's not like we have to go back to living like cave people again. There's a way that we can move forward to live in a co-creative partnership with nature, but not, like you said, not going back, but there's a way to move forward to like the pendulum was here and now it's been over here. And it's like, okay, we can find a way to find that middle ground. And I feel like that recognition of the plants, like you said, they're giving us life every day, every breath, every morsel of food that we, it's like, even if you're a carnivore, even if you only eat meat, those animals ate plants. So it's like, it always comes back to it. And how, in a way, it's like, I almost feel like the design of the human organism is such a mirror of the natural world. And like you're talking about trees, and like I think about the respiratory system is like this upside down tree. It's like you have the trachea as the main trunk, and then it branches into the bronchioles, and then all out into the alveoli, or all like the little leaves, and how so much of the way we are put together is a microcosm of the greater pattern of the natural world. And the recognition of that is so profound. And I think for me, it's one thing to recognize those things and be like, wow, that's amazing. That's profound. That blows my mind. But then we kind of come back to, okay, well, what do I do with that? Like, what do we, like, how does that look in how I live my life every day? So I'm curious if you can speak to that part a little bit.
Sure. And I just want to mention what you're talking about here as like living, like being a part of nature within a modern context. It's really about the balance. It's just,
Mm.
it's not either or. It's just, where's the balance between the two? And because there is beauty. I mean, so yeah. I mean, if we didn't have computers, you and I wouldn't have this opportunity to sit here and chat with each other. I mean,
Exactly.
that's kind of an example. Does that mean we should be sitting on this computer 24/7? No,
Mm.
because that's not healthy. But
Mm.
there's a balance. So anyway, yeah. So bringing it into like, how does this play out in your day-to-day life? I mean, there's many aspects of co-creative partnership. One of the ones I'm really playing with a whole bunch right now is this internal external time, and that we're pretty much operating quite a bit on external time. And again, you and I had to agree on a time, otherwise we wouldn't be here, because we show up at different times and all that. We agreed, let's show up on the computer at this time, and we had to do it by the clock. Okay, so that works. That works. And yet, so many people are really ruled by external time, whereas internal time is like that, tapping into that your own rhythms, which tends to put you into the sync with the rhythms of the earth. So, I mean, for me, because I'm near the ocean right now, and I've never lived near the ocean. And it was kind of, I've been quite a mountain girl. And so the point came, was like, you really need to get to know the ocean, because it's kind of one of my edgy places, because I'm a little afraid of big water because it's powerful, and I don't like getting tumbled by waves, and I don't like getting pulled under by them and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, well, you have to go live near an ocean. And I was like, oh, and does that mean I have to get in it too? so, so yeah, of course I do. But what's happening now is that I'll go I do my morning walk. So that's with sunrise. So I try to be on the beach every morning before the sun rises right up out of that big water. It's so, yeah. And then in the afternoon going, and so this is when I go into the internal time space. It's that I'll go in the afternoon, and it's just letting and the waves are just kind of lapping up on the beach, lapping up. And I lay between two palm trees. Tip, don't ever lay underneath a palm tree, because those coconuts are big and they hurt. And they do fall out randomly. So in between two palm trees, and just lay back on the sand, and these incredible palm branches with all these little finger leaves coming out, and they're just kind of waving in the breeze, and they're doing this little, they kind of do this little clickety clack thing, kind of clickety 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 clickety, and kind of, and then there's the shh of the waves, and then over here is a tropical bird singing its song. And I just lay back and I look up at this, and I go into that state of just totally, I am completely present. So this is what the internal time does for you. When you just allow yourself to just be and not have an agenda. It's like
Yeah.
in the morning, I have a little bit of an agenda because I'm going to take a walk and I'm going to walk from here to here and then I'm going to loop back around and to my house. And so I have a little bit of an agenda. But when I go in the afternoon, I do not have an agenda. I might get in the water and swim here, or swim there, or float, or I might walk, or I might just lay on the beach and let the palms. And so, but what happens in that state is that it puts you right here at now. There's no yesterday. There's no whatever happened yesterday that you got to process or what's going to happen tomorrow you got to prepare for. It's like you're right here, right now, in the now moment. And that's where everything is happening. That's where you make that connection. That's where here you are. And the other piece about the now moment is it opens the doorway. It's like the portal to other dimensional realities, to like a whole nother world that exists simultaneously to this one. So that's one of my big explorations right now in co-creative partnership. I would have never guessed. I kind of, when I first came here to Belize, which is where I am, is like palm trees. Oh yeah, they're a dime a dozen. There's palm trees everywhere. There's coconut palms everywhere. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, palm tree. Oh yeah, whatever. And then I started doing this practice of like really allowing and so the palm starts to go shh, clickety, 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 shh, clickety, 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 shh, relax, relax. And so I just melt into the sand. So anyway, that's something that happens in my pretty much almost daily life that really helps me because I'm super busy these days and lots of computer time, doing lots of podcasts and doing lots of classes and da 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 da. So I'm kind of like, get it done. I got to do this. Oh, then there's this and da da da. But this is how I be in co-creative partnership. And right now, it's particularly with palm trees, which I would never in a million years would have guessed that I would have been called in by palm trees. And they would have taught me so much ease and just total relaxation, total ease. And so it's just anyway. So that I just want to share it to you because this has all happened recently and it's all fresh in my mind. There's so many other aspects. I mean, communication is a big one. Learning the language of nature, learning the language of plants, or remembering the language. Actually, it's not really learning; it's really remembering. And so I work a lot, with light and sound, which are the foundational ways of communicating in the biological world. It's not this. You and I do this. That's not how nature communicates. It communicates through vibratory resonance that's in light, sound, and our breath. So breath would be a part of that. That's where we come in, is with our breath. But and of course you know all this because you're so up on this kind of stuff, Seja. But at the nucleus of the cell there are biophotons, and at the nucleus of the cell of plants are biophotons, so particles of light. And when we start to move into coherence, meaning making a beam of light between us and the plant, communication starts to flow. And so how does that communication flow? It's through vibratory resonance, which we have a felt sensation in our body. We have memories may come that might be from this lifetime, might be from another time period. Memories of our ancestors start to come through. It's an amazing way to connect in with the plants. And the plants actually have a greater ability to fine-tune themselves to us than we do to them. This is all in the science. This is not Pam's new agey idea. They have an ability. Fritz Popp is the German biophysicist who did all this work. And what he also did, I get a little excited about this stuff. What he also did was he discovered that people who were really compromised physically, and I'm talking big stuff like cancer and things like that, that cancer cells, the light at the nucleus of the cell, the way he said it was the light had gone awry, meaning that the light pattern had changed from a healthy light pattern to one that was not healthy. So he was the one that started giving, and he did this through a machine, giving the vibratory resonance and projecting the biophotons from plants to people's unhealthy cells, and it re-informed, that's what he called it, re-informed the light toward health. Now, I call that leading edge. I mean, and these are plants that are doing this. And so I just feel like we have this ability to communicate on this light, sound, breath level with them, where, we feel those vibratory resonances of that as a sensation. I mean, we also learn a lot through our senses, our sensory awareness. And so anyway, that's huge. And now people say, well, what about the words in my head? Yes, you might get words in your head, but the words in your head are a translation of the vibratory resonance. It's the translation of the light and the sound. And so it's okay, because that's, we do that because that's what's familiar. We're familiar, communicating through words. It's really the least effective form of communication, but it's what we do. So there's communication, there's the whole aspect of working with plants to see what their gifts are. So like some people will say, oh, well, that's a poisonous plant. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't mean it's evil and awful. It just means it has constituents in it that are not ones that we want to ingest, or we don't want to rub it all over our skin because we'll get incredible dermatitis. So it doesn't mean that it doesn't carry a gift. And so maybe its gift is
around some ecological functions, like an ecological function, right? We think of it beyond the human-centric perspective.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Moving beyond. And that's part of our problem, is that we think we're it and it's all for us, and all, all of nature's doing stuff for us. And it's kind of like, well, where's the reciprocity here? Like, this is a two-way street. It's us giving back, and they're giving to us, and we're giving back to them. So I'm so glad you said that, because absolutely. And so, oh gosh. And then there's we have, this incredible joyful encounter, these moments where we have the aha moments, or wow, you're in nature, and that sun just rises up out of the water, and there's a point at which it just comes up over the horizon, and it's still close enough to the water so there's a reflection of the sun coming up in the water. So you see two suns, and then it rises just a little bit more, and then the beam of light starts to go across the water to you, usually, and it gets to a certain point in the sky, and it makes this, I call it fire on water. It's like this amazing orange red glow, you're just kind of like, oh my goodness. So we have these moments in nature, and this is when the oxytocin gets released. So, oxytocin, we all have oxytocin. We're born with oxytocin. It's how we bond. It's one of our main, ways of making the connection with other aspects of life, with nature. And so here you are in this take your breath away moment. Oxytocin gets released, starts to go through the bloodstream, cell receptors uptake it out of the bloodstream, and bonding occurs. So that means me and that sun and the water are we're boom. And it is just amazing. And then, of course, oxytocin initiates the restorative response. So here we go. We're coming back into restoration. Way different than cortisol, which initiates the stress response. So and this, I mean, it happens at birth, it happens at peak moments, it happens at orgasm, it happens for us humans at those kind of times, but it also happens at these peak moments in nature. And so when you're wanting to make that boom connection with plants, allow yourself to have an oxytocic moment. I mean,
Mm.
just seeing it like stargazer literally like takes my breath away completely. I'm like, oh my God. Or passion flower. Here, I can grow passion flower, Seja.
Oh,
I can
nice.
grow passion flower here. Yay.
That's
That's
so
blowing out on my deck, which, it looks like a flower from another planet or something. It's unbelievable.
Mm.
Every time I look at one of those flowers, it takes my breath away. So it just, so if you can do that, that really initiates it's like a jump start almost to like this way of, merging, like bonding and coming together, and communication it just flows really easily then. So,
Mm.
there's so many ways. There's so many ways. Anyway, so
Love it. Oh, it's interesting because when you were sharing all of that, you brought it full circle, because when you were sharing that image of your afternoon walk and you're laying on the beach between the two palm trees and you're just allowing that inner time, like you were saying, what I was thinking about is how those moments like that is the rejuvenation. Like, that's how we receive rejuvenation from the natural world, by, taking a moment to depart the world to exist in a moment of peace in the earth. And through that, we receive a rejuvenation. And I was really thinking about that, and how that is one way of keeping that balance of world earth balance, of nature and city balance, so to speak. And you just really brought it full circle, and by bringing in oxytocin, and how it is this moment of, and we've all had moments like that in life, right, where there's a moment and you maybe get that little chill that kind of runs down your back, and everything kind of slows down, and all of a sudden you can visually see all the details and out the peripheral vision, and all the little subtle sounds, like your senses become really heightened. And we've all experienced that, and I think those are moments that we have and maybe don't take the time to reflect on, like, what was that, because we've all had that, but it's like, wait, no, let's talk about that. Like, what is that? And because there is a feeling of magic to those moments, like, isn't that what we would call a magical moment? And I think being able to determine, learn how to navigate our own awareness, senses, heart, mind, to be able to get to that point consciously, rather than just kind of it spontaneously emerging, right, I think is a premise of this work. And being able to especially do it with the plants. And that brings up another thing that I wanted to touch on, and talk with you about, because this is something that I've noticed, teaching about how to connect and communicate with plants and receive communication from plants. You've obviously been teaching that stuff for a lot longer than I have. And it's a question that I get. I'm sure you've gotten it a bunch. I'm sure people listening have it a bunch too, which is, how do you differentiate what you're getting is actually from the plant versus your own thought? Because there have been a lot of moments where I've had to really check myself and be like, wait. I just, this, that, and the other. And it's like, no, actually, if I'm going to be honest with myself, that was just my own thought. And sometimes people will share, the plant told me this. And a part of me is like, are you sure? Like, really? Like, did it really tell you that? Or like, did you make that up? Or was that your own thought? So I'm just curious, like, what's that process like for you? Because it's an edge, right? Like, it's a delicate edge there, where we don't want to, go out and spouting, the plant said this and this plant said that. And we want it to be accurate, right? We want that what we're receiving from an herb or a medicine to be true to that remedy, and not just, some random thing we're making up with our own mind, right? So yeah, can you speak to that one a little bit?
Well, yes, that comes up all the time. It's like, but maybe just my imagination, the whole thing, imagination, and was I just making that up? Well, I mean, I think you have to start with with really. working to let I think it's a real ego thing, and that you have to take this little ego that sits up here in this head and just, I mean, in all my work with Martine that I did over the years, which you know about that, and he would say, "Send it out for donuts." So he would be like, you really have to take your ego that wants to run the show and control everything and be right and be in charge and all of that. You have to ask your ego. It's not that the ego is bad, awful, and evil. It has its place. But when you're doing this kind of stuff, you need to ask it to just take a break. So what I do, and I, he really drilled that one in. So what I do is I kind of visualize this sitting over here on my shoulder. Like literally, I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to be like, get rid of it. I just want it to like take a break over here and not rule everything going on. And not, let me be the hollow bone. You can sit over here for a minute. I'll let you know when I got a job for you. But just sit over here. And so so I really, do that. And I do, well, a couple things. First of all, when I'm receiving what it feels like I'm receiving, I do the ping thud method. Seja, I'm not about rocket science at all. You are a little bit. You're a little bit like a rocket scientist. I am not. I'm just a down home girl, really, earth mama kind of person. I'm not, I can sometimes talk, about far out things, but I'm really kind of right here on the earth. And so I do simple things. I do things that are simple and that work. And so my dear friend Kate Gilday taught me this years ago. And she said, well, oh, don't you do the ping thud method? And I said, the what? She said, well, just bring it into your heart, this communication, bring it into your heart. And does your heart go ping or does your heart go thud? And I was like, huh. And it's really a way to, it's kind of, I mean, I probably shouldn't really say this, but it's similar to like the principles of kinesiology and all of that. It's like, it's based on the field and the field that we're in. And, does it give you energy or does it take the energy away from you? So when it gives you energy, that is, yeah. That's the way of the unified field kind of giving you that positive impulse, that positive reflection. Or if it kind of goes and your shoulders drop and it kind of your energy drains, it's kind of like, that's not right. Nah, that's not right on.
Not on track. Yeah.
Not on track. Nah. So I do that simple thing. And then the proof is in the pudding. So check it out. So you're being told or you're channeling or whatever, or you're getting pinged for a particular thing. And it could be how you're going to, cooperate with the plant for physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. It could be that, or it could be something else. It could be, so that's what I do is like, okay, so what I'm receiving says that this plant's could possibly cooperate with me. Another key ingredient, not necessarily everybody else.
Right. Yes.
Hey, we're vibing. We're doing our, vibes together. We're doing our little vibratory resonances together. Me. So I check it out. It said this. Does it work? Let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not, again, it's not some big grandiose thing. It's just like, it's kind of common sense. Just check it out. Check it out. If every indication up to that point has been, then follow it through and see. I had a great thing with this 2 years ago. I was doing a hawthorn tree initiation at my place. And I I have a young, relatively young, I'm going to say 10 to 12-year-old hawthorn tree that some students gave me. It's at the edge of the labyrinth. And I was up near the labyrinth and I was kind of like, my gaze kind of went over the tree and I was like, oh, I always wanted to do an initiation with you here. I said, but you never bloom. And Hawthorn was like, well, maybe if you do an initiation, I'd bloom. And I went, oh, is that how it works? So,
The chicken or the egg moment.
so I was like, oh, all right. I said, so does that mean next year, we can talk about plant initiations too, about what those are, but like next year, you're going to be the initiator. It's where we spend 3 days with one plant in a ceremonial context and do all these things. Anyway, and Hawthorne was like, well, yeah. Like you get it together and and I'll be the initiator. And I was like, okay. And then there's another big hawthorn on the other side of the road. I'm not sure if you and I ever went over there, but it's where I harvest all my berries. And it's a big old grandma tree. And I was kind of like over there cleaning up around the bottom and pulling vines out of it and said, oh, I'm so happy you're going to be the initiator this next year. And that hawthorn said, oh yeah, and you're going to bring everybody on a pilgrimage. And I went, oh, a what? A pilgrimage? I mean, I know what a pilgrimage is, but I was kind of like, what would that look like? And this big old hawthorn says, it would look like everybody would come on pilgrimage from your place and they'd all walk here and they'd be on a pilgrimage. So that was a whole thing of itself. So I had 2 initiations that year and it turned out one was the big tree and one was the young tree. And of course, the people who showed up for those 2 all needed a pilgrimage and the other all needed the young one.
Sure.
So then I was like, and spring was coming. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't been paying attention to that young one. I need to go look at that young one. I've been working with the old one, the old grandma. And I go up there and here's all these little, I went, oh my gosh, you're buds. And
wow.
And was like, yeah, isn't that what
told you so?
Like, didn't we agree that I would bloom, you would make the initiation happen and bring the people, and I would bloom and I would be the initiator? Isn't that what we agreed? I said, yeah, but you bloomed. I was just like over the moon that this tree actually boomed. And so it was such a good teaching for me after all these years. I'm talking 40 now years. I still was questioning that tree, even though it said, hey, you want a blooming hawthorn? No problem. I can do that. And even though this was our exchange, and I was all excited about hawthorn and but I still was in doubt that was really what happened until I went and saw it. And it was a huge, I'm not sure if that's exactly on the topic that we're talking about, but it doesn't matter. It's a great story.
Great story.
So what I have learned over the years, and especially with this hawthorn, is that plants and trees don't lie. They don't lie to you. When they're right on and they're communicating to you the truth of their being, they're not trying to deceive you or betray you or lie to you. No, people do that, not plants and trees. So I feel like it's really important for us when we feel like we're getting those pings and we're getting that yes vibration from the plants and the trees, we just go with it and then see what happens. Carry it all the way to the end. And even though I carried it all the way to the end where that tree was blooming and made beautiful flowers and beautiful berries that year. And it was just kind of, oh gosh, anyway, and it had never bloomed. It should have bloomed by then. So
12-year-old tree, huh? Wow, that's amazing.
It bloomed by then.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. What an awesome story.
Yeah, it was just kind of one of those magic times of like, wow, if a plant tells you it's going to do something, you can trust that.
And those are the things that reaffirm the belief in all of this, right? Where it's like, of course, like, yes, this is real. This is not just like some figment of my imagination. Like there is something real that is happening here, and being strong in that, I feel like, is an important aspect of, like, as plant people, as herbalists, we have to be strong in our relationship to the plants and our connection to the plants and our belief in the plants. Like, how can we expect a remedy that we give to someone to heal them if we ourselves don't have a belief in the healing power of that plant? So it's like we have to fortify ourselves. And I feel like it's experiences like that that are just so reassuring in a lot of ways, of something that on a grander cultural scale, from the most people's perspective, is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot of people will just be like, what? A plant can't talk to you? That's crazy. And it can be easy to have that get people down a little bit and doubt themselves and not believe in all of this. And so I really appreciate you sharing that story, because it also shows that you, even after doing this for so long, still get those little moments of, really? Like, really, and then, yeah, really. So,
Really.
yeah.
I mean, I think part of it was I was just in awe of the amazing plant consciousness that exists. And so when I saw those buds, I was just over the moon. But there was that part that was like, I was expecting to go up there and not see any. And I got so excited when I did see them, but it was just kind of like, I, yeah. So, and I think the more we wake up and the more that we pay attention, really attend to these plants
Yeah.
and trees, I just feel like our our partnership will just grow exponentially, because
Mm,
they want us to succeed. They
yeah.
were like their little brothers and sisters. They want us to succeed. They want us to thrive. I mean, we've been doing this symbiotic thing with them for a long time, and they want us to succeed. They want us to be all we possibly can be. They want us to
Yeah.
live our full potential. So
Mm,
it's possible. And I would say, if we really be paying attention to plants and trees, and I mean, what I see happening with them is I mean, they always have evolved prior to their animal counterparts. That's just the way it's been. And so I kind of look at, like, well, what's our evolution right now? I feel like our evolution is I mean, you could use the word spiritual nature, or consciousness raising state, but I think that's our evolution right now, is like get to
mm,
the point where we stop destroying the planet would be a good place to be,
mm.
for peace on earth. But that might be down the road just a wee bit. So so what's happening, if you observe what the plants have been doing since the 60s for sure, but maybe even before that, is there's just been this huge explosion in interest in the psychotropic part of plants, or essences, flower essences, which has no chemical constituents at all, or plant
Mm.
spirit healing, which, as you know, you don't even have to ingest the plant. And now it's like the old Buddhist saying, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. What I find is, when I'm ready, the plants go, here's another piece.
Yep.
And it keeps
Yeah.
happening. It's never stopped. And so now they're doing this initiation thing where they're initiating the plants and trees are the elders that are the initiators. And they're initiating
Mm.
us into what it means to be truly human, living sanely, keyword, within the collective. We're just a whole, a bunch of modern people that have not been initiated. So we don't have a clue of how to live within the collective, in
Mm.
a way that's sane. And the plants know how to do that. They have been doing it for a long, 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 long time. They have been
Mm.
interconnected with their other nature kin and their other plants, and they've been cooperating and being together in that collective, and actually interdependent on each other. And they've been doing that for so long. And now I feel like they're just ahead of us in their spiritual evolution, and that they're kind of guiding us in ours, and to raise our consciousness to that point where, you know, we get it together.
Yeah.
Take it to the
Yeah.
next level. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyway,
Absolutely. Well, I love that, and I think about that word initiation is such an interesting word because you think of when we initiate something, when we're going to initiate, so like what does that mean? It's like we're beginning something new. It's the beginning of something new, and I think of this concept within the domain of alchemy, of traditional medical alchemy, and how so much of in the alchemical tradition, they would speak of the alchemically prepared remedy when ingested is the work itself, but also the ingestion of the medicine is the source of initiation. It's bringing us into a greater level of understanding of nature within ourselves, of like our own nature and who we are, but also of the world outside of us in a healing way, right? So it's healing us and teaching us, and through that greater level of knowledge of self and knowledge of the world around us, we are. I suppose in your terminology and in my terminology for that matter is evolved. We are evolved, right? We are at a greater level of harmony with the self and with the environment. And so the concept of initiatic medicine, I think is really interesting, especially in terms of alchemy as a nested part of the greater kind of hermetic tradition of the West, where a lot of, those esoteric circles would be very dependent on another person to initiate you, right? Is like you're the acolyte and they're the magus, and they're the one that has to initiate you in their order of whatever their system is, and in this perspective, it is just through the plants and through nature and through, really the way I see it is through healing, because it's like the healing and the spiritual development and evolution. It's like in order to spiritually grow and develop, we have to heal ourselves. And oftentimes in order to heal ourselves, we got some growth, we got some work to do on ourselves. And I think the plants are so incredible in the way that they can assist in that process. So, I mean, I guess I'm curious, and you talked about it a little bit, but I'm curious to hear a little more about
yeah.
these plant initiations. Yeah.
Well, these plant initiations, they're phenomenal. I mean, I won't tell. It's a kind of a lengthy story on how it got started, but basically, I've been doing these plant initiations since 2010, so 15 years now. And basically, what it is one plant that you work in a kind of in a ceremonial context for 3 days, and we make what I call an elixir. I mean, it's not technically an elixir, but it's different parts of the plant, different mediums, and it all gets put together. This is, of course, an ingestible plant to do this. And we do a whole stirring process like the biodynamic stirring. We're stirring one direction, through vortex, and then the other direction. Heaven and earth come in. So there's a lot of the alchemical elements that come into this. And so then we do, we drink, we make enough for each person to have 16 ounces over the 3 days. So we do 2 ounces 8 times. So we encourage people to fast. So there's not a lot of food in there getting in the way of what, we're bringing the plant in to do its thing.
Yeah.
And try not to get too much other stuff in the way. Some people have a difficult time with fasting, but anyway, we encourage that. And then we do all different kinds of things with the plant. I mean, we're sitting with it. We're going on shamanic journeys. We embody the plant. We make masks and we embody the plant. We have a fire. We have a fire circle where we're a council of whatever's hawthorns. This year it's motherwort. So everybody has embodied now the plant, and they have made a mask and they speak. Everybody speaks around the fire in council, as if they're not a human. So it's based on the Council of All Beings, with John Seed and Joanna Macy created that years and years and years ago. So it's based on that. Anyway, we do that. We do green breath, which is the long transformational breath breathing, and that is incredibly transformative and so spontaneous healings happen during that. I mean, we work with the sound, we work with the light, we work with dreaming, daydream, nighttime dreaming, shamanic dreaming. We do all different kinds of things. We work with the labyrinth, and with this one plant. And it's really profound. I mean, when you're done with this plant, I mean, it's like being transformed. It's like, the dismemberment thing, but dying to the old and being reborn to the new. It's quite transformative. And these plants are stepping it up and bringing forward this massive healing. Talk about the healing, all the healing we have to do. Some of the things I've seen like happen on the spot, like spontaneous, is like
Yeah.
blow your mind away.
Yeah.
And then we kind of continue it once people leave. Everybody goes home with an essence, and they continue with it for at least 6 weeks. So there's been some people would refer to this as dieting the plant, which it's a little different than dieting the plant, because dieting oftentimes means, for several days you're ingesting the plant. But this is in a ceremonial context, which really kind of changes the container within which everybody is in to do the work with this plant. And I'm telling you, Sasia, it's been miraculous what has happened. Really. And the plants brought it to me. I did not choose this. I didn't choose this. I was in England teaching a class, and a volcano went off in 2010 in Iceland, and I was like, I couldn't get home. So I was like, what do I do? And I was like, well, I got to try to get back to Ireland. My friend Carol Guyette lives in Ireland. I at least need to go somewhere where I'm with friends and people that love me, and I'm not in some skanky hotel in London trying to get home. So I did that, and she is the one that actually brought this forward. And it was the end of April, and she does her things on Beltane, the cross-quarter days and the solstices and equinoxes is when she does her initiations. So she was preparing for the Beltane initiation, which was primrose. Hillsides are covered in these beautiful little yellow primroses. So I happened to be there. There I was, because I couldn't get home because of volcano. Now I couldn't make that up if I tried. I couldn't even, I couldn't even, I could never come up with something like that. But
you said volcano. I thought it was an inner volcano of inspiration, like a volcano went up in your head. You're like, oh, you mean a real volcano went off?
A real volcano happened. And, but so I was there. I helped her harvest plants. I helped her make the elixir. She showed me how to do everything, every step of the way. And she sent me home. And I was able to get home before May 1st. She sent me home with some of the elixir, and I did the initiation by myself at home with the elixir we made, and her whole group was doing it at the same time in Ireland. And so that was my first initiation. But I didn't do it. I wasn't the one that made it happen. It just happened. And so then I realized, oh man, this is really powerful. We better check this one out. And so then last year, she came to Vermont from Ireland, and we did Angelica. And so she led it. So I was right there to be right by her side to, see what what are we going to do and how are we going to do it? Da, da, da. And then from there on in, I started doing them myself and doing them in Vermont and other places. Yeah, I've done lots of them in other locations. And so it's powerful. It's amazing work. And the plants are they're right there.
Oh,
yeah, it's amazing.
I love it. I mean, why I love it is because it is you're just creating a context through which the plant is able to just really come to life within people and heal them and teach them. And I feel like this is this is something I'm always talking about, is especially for herbalists, that it's so easy when we're learning herbalism to get all the books and do the research and go to workshop and go to conferences and do programs, and all that's really good, but it's all here. And I think there comes a point where we have to balance our intellectual knowledge with an experiential understanding. Like knowledge only gets us so far. And for me, it's like, I don't want to just know about the plants. I want to understand them. I want to understand not just what they're good for, but who they are. And the only way we can really get to that point is by creating that kind of push everything else off to the side and just focus on that one plant. And that's why I always really encourage people wanting to learn their materia. It's like materia medica. It's like, do one plant a month. Like, just take 1 month and study everything you can about it, but drink it in tea and infuse it and make a decoction and take 3 drops of the tincture, take 5 mils of the tincture, like just diffuse yourself with that herb so that you can feel it physically in your body. You can feel feel what does a diaphoretic feel like? What does a stimulant expectorant feel like? Like, that's so useful than just having it be this kind of concept in the mind. And so I just absolutely love this this work that you're doing by creating that space for people to be healed and taught directly by the medicinal power of the plants. It's so good. And like you were saying too, it's like they want us to do that. And I think from an herbalist perspective, it's like the plants need an herbalist. Like Hawthorn has all this profound healing property for the human organism. Like, that's not a mistake. I'm not saying the only reason Hawthorn is here is for the benefit of humans, right? It has other purposes, but it also has all of that it does for us. And I think that's for a reason. But the only way a hawthorn berry is going to get into a human body typically is for there to be a certain kind of human that can understand the language of hawthorn, that can understand the language of a human, and hawthorn can, cross that bridge to help that other person. And I think that's what, in my opinion, I think that's what kind of the ecological function of the herbalist is to be that bridge between the human and the plant kingdom in a healing way. And I just that's how I see you, that's how I see what you do, is just that bridge that the plants are able to cross to touch the life of another human and help them. I feel like that's just such a huge part of all this. So thank you for it's just beautiful you do. Yeah, it's wonderful.
I don't know how to do anything else. So this is my life. This is this is the gift I came in on. So I have to do it, and I love it and all that. And I just want to say to you, I'm so glad we did this together, because it's so great to see you just really doing it and sharing all your incredible knowledge. I remember when you were in Vermont, you had your notebook, and pages were all kind of crumply, and you had all kinds of things stuffed in that way. But you would, something would happen, and you'd like write something down in that notebook. And I was like, what's that notebook you got? He said, oh, this is going to be my book someday. And I was just, and it turned into a beautiful book. And so I just want to say, Seja, I just love seeing you just flourishing in your element.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for being willing to walk the path, which sometimes can be challenging, as we know, but it's a beautiful path, and you're one of those bridges too. So.
Oh, well, thank you, Pam. I mean, your work has been hugely inspirational and hugely transformative for me, right? I mean, I spent a lot of time with you in class and workshop and participating in those things. And it just was like, when, it's like, you have those points in your life when you look back and you think of when there were distinct turning points in your life. But when you're in it, you don't realize it's a distinct turning point in your life, but it's only upon reflection where you're like, oh, whoa, that was like kind of a big deal. And I feel like my time with you was like that. And I just really have a lot of respect for you and honor you and the work that you do. And I just, I'm happy to hear you're keeping going, even though, before we talked, you were saying, oh, at this point in my life, I thought I'd be relaxing on a couch, and you're busier than ever and keeping going. And I just thank you for doing that. It's like, I feel like that's what the plants want from us, and I think these are the times when that is needed. So you have a new book.
Do want to
Let's
see
hear
it?
about it. I want to see it. Yeah.
There it is. Co-creating with nature, healing the wound of separation. So yeah.
I love it.
It's coming out soon it's being released on March soon in March. So this talks a lot about what we've been talking about today and a lot about co-creative partnership. There's a whole section on plant initiations. Uh,
Mm.
and particular plants that we've done initiations with and what's come through with them. So yeah, talking a lot about the separation and how how did this happen? Talk about
Mm.
that and how do we deal with it? And basically we deal with separation by engaging in co-creative partnerships. So
Mm.
anyway, it's exciting. And it was one of those, to be honest, it was one of those ones I actually started writing it here in Belize. And Belize has been a very the lushness of the environment, the ocean. I love the colors in the ocean, the kind of the turquoises and the greens and the blues and all that. So it's like I love that. And of course, you know me, plants, and I'm like surrounded by plants and lushness. And there's something about this environment that really gets my creative juices flowing. And
Mm.
so this is where I
Nice.
started writing this book, and I'm telling you, man, whenever I'm here, I mean, maybe that's why I'm working so much right now is just, I mean, I call it work. I should be calling it play, but it's just like I feel so creative when I'm here
Mm.
that I'm just doing it. So anyway, um, yeah, so it's coming out soon. So I hope
Awesome.
everybody can enjoy it, and yeah, let me know what you think. I'd be interested to hear.
Awesome. It looks like a thick one too. That
It
looks
is,
that's
that's what Mark said to me when he was like, "How come it's so thick?" I said, "Well, because there was a lot more to say." Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely post the link in the description below for everybody. I encourage everybody to go check out not just Pam's new book, but check out Pam's other books. I highly recommend them. They are excellent and have been staples on my copies of your books are we'll say thoroughly dog-eared and looking well read, well loved. So I encourage everybody to go out and check out Pam's work. We'll put a link in the description for her website and for all of you to explore all the goodness that Pam is putting out there. Pam, I really enjoyed chatting with you today. This was a lot of
It's
fun.
fun.
So much for joining me. Yeah, it was great. Well, blessings to you and enjoy the rest of your time down there in Belize and good luck with your book and all the wonderful work that you're doing moving forward into the future. And hopefully we can do this again sometime.
That would be fun. Yep. We'll do the next iteration, whatever
Yes.
that is.
All right. Take care.
Okay, Saja, thank you.